Welcome to Paladin Financial Talk. I'm your co-host, Tony Shore, and I'm excited because I'm here with our amazing host, Ellie Robinson. Ellie, how are you?
I am good, Tony.
Good.
It's a slow day today, so I'm a little lethargic, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, it's been kind of cloudy, a little rainy, and just
It's
getting
cold and
colder. Yeah.
It's just one of those Monday mornings where we're all a little quiet in the office today.
Yeah, we're recording the show. We normally never record the show on a Monday, but due to technical difficulties, we are recording on a Monday this week. This is interesting. But you have a really fascinating topic for us, and I'm looking forward to getting into that. But first, since we're recording on a Monday, before we get in, I have to ask, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was very productive. Right now, on a personal update to you, Tony, so I'm in the works of buying a house. So next week is closing. And so right now I live with my boyfriend in a suburb close by, and we're going to rent out his place. So this week, yesterday, I spent like 4 hours cleaning the house, making it look, renter friendly and taking pictures and just making it look all nice and pristine. So that was the weekend, was just having a checklist of like, what do we need to do over the next 3 weeks?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot. Moving is a lot in general, but then also having to clean and rent the place
There's
you lived in.
There's a lot to do. Yeah. So it was a productive weekend.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's nice that he has you to help out with that.
Yeah,
Did
it is
he
nice.
help clean?
No, he was out with customers all weekend, actually.
Oh, sure.
Yep. He's also in a sales role. So
Sure.
he was schmoozing clients.
Yeah, he was golfing with clients.
He was at the Vikings game on Sunday, and he was at the Gophers game on Friday.
Okay,
So,
well, you were cleaning? Yeah, I don't know.
it's okay. I'll give him a pass. He was working hard.
Wow. You're easier on him than I would be. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So you're buying a house. I guess the boat wasn't. You can't just live on the boat you bought.
We got bored with the boat, Tony.
Unbelievable.
We're gonna get it wrapped up and winterized this week.
Oh,
It's
good.
starting to get a little chilly, so we got to get it taken care of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Now is the time. The
Exactly.
fall's the time. You gotta put the boat away.
Yep, exactly.
For another season. All right. So the topic today, employee stock options or employer stock options, understanding your employee equity with different types of stock options. Some companies do this. This has been around a while, I know.
Correct.
There are big companies here in Minnesota. I'm just going to use an example, 3M, which in the past has offered things like that, or some of the other big companies, maybe Target. We have
Target for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and you've probably had people from those companies that you've talked to that have stock options, right?
So this month on the podcast, we've been highlighting employee benefits. And I, came to Nikki and I said, I want to talk about stock options because a lot of people who come through our door, they have no idea how their stock options work. And there's a lot of different kinds of plans out there. I can think of 5 off the top of my head, but I just want to focus on the 3 most common types that I see with working with clients. And you're absolutely right. Like nose on, or what's the expression?
Yeah.
Something on the nose?
On the nose.
Just on the nose.
On the nose.
With Fortune 500 companies. Like they have so many different kinds of stock option plans.
Sure.
And so Target is one of them, CVS, like the list goes on. So that's why I wanted to spend a little bit of time today on identifying the 3 most common that I see here in the Twin Cities.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad we're going to dig into this. This is an area where a lot of people, even people who have this as a benefit, don't really understand these the differences and what they have and how they need to be handling it. Yeah. I think that's great. So where do you want to begin?
Well, we can start with restricted stock units. So number 1. RSUs is the acronym that we use in this industry. So willy-nilly, when I'm talking about restricted stock units, you'll hear me say RSUs a lot. So RSUs are most common in tech and just like corporate roles in general, and you don't buy them. So it doesn't come out of your pocket. It is given to you by your employer. And a lot of people also backtrack, not just RSUs specifically, but in all type of stock option plans. I think people treat these as just like lottery tickets with no planning, and they say, oh yeah, great, it's extra money coming in the door, but they're not really considering all of the tax implications that come from these, how they impact your overall retirement plan, how it impacts your estate plan, and just risk management in general. So with restricted stock units specifically, they are given to you, and so the terminology is granted. You're granted stock, and usually there's a vesting schedule of about 3 years is what I see most commonly. It can be 1 year, it can be 5 years, and there can be staggered vesting in there. But for easy example, let's say that you were given $100 worth of stock this year, and there's a 3-year vesting schedule. So in 3 years from now, the value of that stock at that time will be taxed to you at ordinary income.
Okay.
What I do see is most of the time employers will withhold taxes for you. And so that ordinary income, it's subject to federal, state, Social Security, all of the taxes, just like normal payroll. But what I also see is with employers just withholding taxes for you, it might not be the correct amount. So you'll end up owing still a big tax bill at the end of the year, and not really realizing that all of the stock that just became vested to you just pushed you into a higher tax bracket.
Yeah.
So that is probably one of the bigger things and biggest implications with RSUs that I see. Once they are vested, you are free to sell it. You can sell it, immediately, or you can hold on to it and sell it down the road. And so when they become fully vested to you in that tax year, that's the new cost basis of the stock that you have received. And if you hold it for over a year, then you'll be taxed at long-term capital gains, any of the growth that you might accumulate from that, or you sell it a couple days later and the growth or losses are taxed at short-term capital gains. So I think that part becomes a little bit more easy once they're fully vested for you.
Sure. So basically you're saying you need to check the withholdings that they're taking out, that your employer is taking out for your stock options to make sure they match your tax bracket?
Correct. I usually tell people, hey, just double check what they're automatically withholding for you, because it might not be correct. And you just need to be mindful, so we know that we're going to end up paying out of pocket in the spring when we go to file your taxes. So just being aware of it.
And for some of our listeners, they might say, hey, this is getting complicated. What do you mean by vested? And so they're not going to tax me until if you have an RSU, which is a restricted stock unit, that's a stock option, and they're taxed as ordinary income, but not until you're fully vested. And that can vary from company to company. And so what does vested mean? That means after a certain period, then you can access those funds and you get taxed. Yeah,
you can think of it that way. And so I referenced a 3-year vesting schedule. I think that is the most common that I usually see, but I've also heard of like a vesting schedule where 25% of it will be vested next year. The other 25% will be vested 2 years from now. Another 25% will be vested 3 years from now, and on forth.
Sure.
And so every single year you have extra taxation that is coming down the pipeline that you might forget about, or you have a 5-year vesting schedule and you also forget about that, and then you have $50,000 worth of stock that is taxed to you in that year and you didn't realize it or did not think through it specifically. So that's where we want to be mindful in our tax planning, is the vesting schedule of your stock.
Right. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Just like with 401k matches, you have to stay at a company a certain period of time to get that vested, that match.
Some 401ks are like that too, where they have a vesting schedule. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Good to know.
Nailed it.
So that's RSUs. What's the next one?
Next most common that I see are employee stock purchase plans, so ESPP plans. These are not given to you. You have to elect into this benefit.
Oh.
So, and they can be a great tool if you have a goal in mind of why you're doing this, but what they're doing is they're allowing you to purchase company stock at a discount.
Okay.
Most common discount price I will see is a 15% discount, but it can be 10, it can be 5. They don't technically even have to give you a discount if they don't want to, but that kind of defeats the purpose of calling it a benefit in my eyes. So hopefully what it's doing is offering you built-in gains by giving you that discounted price if you are electing to put your own money into this plan. That's also something that I see most common is a lot of people don't realize that they are electing into this. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, right?
Sure. So they have to buy the stock. The employee, you have to purchase the stock.
The employer so you have to elect into the benefit at work, but the employer will actually take care of it for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So with ESPP plans, you'll purchase it at a discount price, and they'll usually pay it out of payroll taxes. Or, excuse me, out of your payroll.
But it's your money.
It is your money, correct.
They're not giving you stock, company stock.
Correct.
Right.
It's not a gift. It's not granted to you.
Sure.
Yeah, you're electing into the benefit.
With the ESPPs.
Yes. Yeah. What I usually see, again, rule of thumb, and I usually have to use all of this fluffy talk because there is no hard and fast rule with any of this. There's always exceptions. There's always just roundabout ways, and employers, for the most part, sometimes they just call their own shots. They can kind of do whatever they want.
Sure.
So what I usually see with companies here in the Twin Cities is I see a 3-month quote unquote vesting where you purchase into it at a discount and you have to wait at least 3 months before you can trade it. So there's a holding period with these type of stock plans. 3 months is usually what I see. So what one action item could be for prospects or clients out there that are trying to understand these plans is there's 2 different ways that it can be taxed to you, actually. The terminology is a qualified or disqualified dispositions. So asking HR or just looking up in the benefits packet for the terminology of qualified Section 423 plans. This is going to be a more favorable way to be taxed, and you can be taxed at long-term capital gains if you hold it long enough, whereas disqualified will have you paying more in ordinary tax rates. So there's time, you have to hold it for a specific time frame. These are a little bit more sophisticated usually at the end of the day, but what I have to remind people most of, it's you're electing into this, so be prepared with paying taxes at the end of the year if you're going to be buying and selling.
But you are getting hopefully you're getting a discount.
Hopefully.
Sometimes 10, 15%.
Yes, hopefully.
On the stock price.
I think between RSUs and ESPP plans too, is a lot of people, either they're granted the stock or they buy into the stock and then they don't have a goal with it and they just let it accumulate and it just keeps building on, stock units and value, and then all of a sudden they're over concentrated into a single stock. So
that's a problem as well, right?
Yes.
You, as a financial advisor and a fiduciary, you would not recommend that.
Generally, yes.
Generally. It depends on somebody's.
It depends on their risk profile, and we got to assess to make sure what's right for them. But yes, we want to make sure that you're not buying and holding out of too much loyalty or just carelessness and not realizing.
Well, you don't want all your retirement fund. If it's money you want to use to live on in retirement, you don't want it all in one stock.
Correct.
In case something happens,
so
probably.
Both ESPP and RSU plans are considered non-retirement taxation plans. These are quote unquote, they're liquid to you before 59 and a half. So 59 and a half is that retirement age where you can usually tap into a 401k and all of your employer plans.
Sure.
These, even though there's some vesting schedules behind them, overall, they're not technically retirement planning tools. How we kind of think of them is if we want to put goals behind this is maybe we use those funds to fund other types of accounts like your IRAs, like your Roth IRAs, like 529 plans, and try to figure out where we need to put this excess cash flow. So those are the 2 fun ones that create a lot of taxation.
Sure.
And I got to break it down to people who come through our door. Usually I tell them, hey, you got to ask HR some clarifying questions because usually it stems from them on all the rules. So I say, hey, go ask these specific questions, come back with the answers, and then we'll gather a game plan from here.
But that's the key, is knowing what questions to ask, and most people do not.
Yeah, correct.
Like, is it a qualified or disqualified? That's
Correct.
a huge one if it's an ESPP.
And sometimes your HR, they're just regurgitating all of this. They don't actually understand it half the time. So
Right, that's the problem.
So that is the beauty of, I tell a client, like, okay, go ask these 3 questions. That's all I need in order to like provide a rounded out recommendation for you. And then they'll get me those answers and then we're off to the races. So
That's good.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Okay. Last plan that I wanted to talk about today are the acronym are called ESOP plans.
ESOP.
So, yes.
ESOP. Yeah.
ESOP, not ESPP. So
Yeah.
Employee stock ownership plans. I don't see these quite as common, but they are out there. I've dealt with them. They are considered, now these are considered retirement accounts. So
Okay.
they are tax deferred vehicles, and you will most commonly see them with private or employee owned companies. So
And they're fully funded by the company.
correct.
ESOPs.
Correct. Usually the company is giving it to you, so granting you
Yeah.
stock ownership into their plans. With ESOP plans, they are considered illiquid plans. And so they are withheld to that 59.5 rule.
Okay.
And they're deferring all your taxes. One thing as you're nearing retirement, so in the same space as the other 2 plans, like it is very easy to have all your eggs in one basket with an ESOP plan. As you're getting closer to age 55, and usually if you're in the plan for 10 plus years, the company will allow you to diversify away from your company stock ownership.
Oh, wow. This plan sounds the best out of the 3.
It can be because of the tax deferral, but in the same realm, it's fully, I shouldn't say fully, but it is generally illiquid. So if you were to leave a company today that you have an ESOP plan with, you might not be able to roll it over for another year or so, because there's these very small windows of opportunity where they say, okay, we're granting company stock at this time, and you're going to have to wait until that next window to roll it out.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a privately held company. So liquidity is limited, and just knowing what your options are as you're getting closer to retirement and making sure that you understand the procedures and the timelines for selling your shares of ownership within this plan.
And then know what a question to ask is, what is the vesting schedule? I mean, you mentioned vesting, but with all, I would assume with all 3 of these, vesting comes into play?
Correct. I think vesting, that might not be the exact terminology for all of them, like ESPP plans. Like technically vesting isn't the right terminology, but I think it's the easiest for people to understand, where I say you can't touch it for 3 months.
Yeah.
So consider it fully vested after 3 months of owning your stock.
Yeah. So for an ESOP, like what, like I know they can be different, but a typical vesting schedule, is it like 3 years, 5 years that you have to be
I usually
work for the company?
I haven't heard of actually a vesting schedule like that. What I usually see is every single year they're giving you access to more stock.
Okay.
And then if you leave the company, like you have to wait until that next window of opportunity to roll out the ownership that you have into a traditional IRA.
Yeah.
So it is considered tax deferred, and you can move it into a like taxed vehicle,
Sure.
if that makes sense.
Sure. There are different rules with each of these that you have to figure out.
Yes,
aren't
and
there?
ESOP plans, honestly, they're their own beast. They're technically trust funds. It's technical, and I don't think it's even worth educating some clients on, because I'm like, you don't even have to worry about the back end operations. What we got to worry about is how this affects you and your plan.
Yeah,
So-
your overall retirement
Yeah.
plan. When can you access this money?
Correct.
Is it going to be right for you? The
Correct.
risk.
Correct.
Yeah.
So overall, between all 3 of these, even though the first 2 are non-retirement plans and this last one, the ESOP plan, is technically a retirement plan, still the number one thing is over-concentration that we want to be mindful of, and not holding too much company stock, which equates to unnecessary risk. If you think about it, you're putting your eggs all into one basket.
Yep.
Making sure that we're not hit with any tax surprises, depending on what kind of stock ownership that you have. And then I also think that there is a component of talking through the emotional side to owning company stock.
Like my grandfather worked for, this company A for 40 years. I've worked there my whole life.
Yeah.
My grandpa left me the stock. I've got stock options.
Yeah.
All my money for retirement is in this one company stock because I'm loyal to the company.
But you don't know who's going to be a winner 20, 30, 40 years from now.
That company could have been Kodak, right?
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah, they were successful back in the day,
could have
but
been Polaroid.
you just don't know.
Yeah.
Tony, this is a quick little story. And I had someone come through my door a couple weeks ago, and she came in with some paper stock certificates.
Oh, paper stock.
That were given to her over 30 years ago.
Sure. Yeah.
And she's like, help me make this go away. And so I did a little bit of homework, and I told her, I was like, some of these companies are no longer. This is worthless now.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And she had a couple winners in there. She's not making a fortune out of it, but you just never know. So that's why we don't want to be over concentrated in a single stock.
Yeah, I found two stocks that my parents
Paper
owned.
certificates.
Yeah, and I looked into it, and it was just like, okay, this one's, they paid. It was like $50 and it's $50 is what it's worth.
Yeah, it hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone down. Yeah.
It's okay.
What's hard when you come across paper stock certificates is if the company has gone back to private, then it's like, oh, great, we got to deal with this because it still might have value to it, but it's going to be considered illiquid, just like your ESOP plan, and you got to go find the right people to help cash it in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I think overall with today's conversation, some integration tips I think could be, number one, coordinate with your financial advisor, and the timing sales could avoid alternative tax or additional tax is what I should say, to make sure you're not pushed up into higher tax brackets. Tying your stock plan to certain goals over time, whether it's something on the horizon in a few years from now, or if we want to try to earmark it for retirement. We've got to make sure that we hone in on that, and then just making sure that we use rebalancing strategies in other accounts to possibly offset the concentrated stock that you have elsewhere. So those are some tips that I have for all of our listeners out there.
All right. Well, and to recap, you talked about RSUs, ESPPs, ESOPs, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so what are the key takeaways from each one? Just a few.
Yeah, RSUs, tax debt vesting. So you got to plan ahead.
Yep.
ESPPs, fantastic tool, but require attention and discipline. And ESOPs, they are also powerful retirement accounts, but oftentimes considered illiquid to you. So don't do it alone. There's a lot of moving parts with these. Make sure you're working with a professional. This is fun to us.
Yeah. I mean, you integrate stock plans, retirement goals, benefits. I really think you integrate it into a plan, right? That's the key.
Oh, yeah. You got to wrap it up into a pretty little bow.
Yep. Yeah. You guys are good at doing that and looking at the big picture because there are so many moving parts.
Yeah.
What can our listeners do out there, whether they have stock options or not, to get that all worked out?
I say give us a call, 651-842-8406, where you can schedule a complimentary consultation with any of the advisors on staff, myself included, and let's try to get all your ducks in a row. I think that's going to be the easiest thing to say.
Yeah. I saw something, you get all your ducks in a row. It says, I'd like to get all my ducks in a row, but one of my ducks died, one's on fire. I can't find the other one, and I think one might be a pigeon. It was something like that.
I love that.
Yeah. So sometimes we don't even know what our ducks are or where they're at.
That's not a duck.
Getting them in a row might be harder. That's why we need you, Ellie, because you know what's a duck and what's not a duck.
Correct.
That's the key. Well, hey, Ellie, great show. And listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Paladin Financial Talk with our host, Ellie Robison.